Well, happy Friday, everyone. Tom Grisafi with Ag Bull Trading. I'm an AP over here at Nesvick Trading Group based out of Memphis and Nashville. Today, we're going to talk end the month. The month of May, as far as it comes to trading, is over. And we have the one and only Mr. Don Wick from the Red River Farm Network. Don, welcome to the show. I feel like it's been a few weeks since we've done one of these, but Don was in D.C., and I got a feeling we're going to talk a lot of politics. We may say the name President Trump once or twice. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic. Beautiful day, although here in beautiful Grand Forks, North Dakota, we've got hazy skies. The fires in Canada are clouding up all the skies in the Dakotas and northern Minnesota right now.
Not only do I not like Canadian politics, I don't like Canadian fires. A few years ago in Valparaiso, Indiana, I was literally having a hard time getting up in the morning and going walking. A few times I got sick. You look at your phone and you see that
Air quality.
air
Yeah.
quality, and silly me, I was walking in horrible air quality and didn't realize what that was like. And that's a problem. Yeah, it's going to be all over.
Yeah. So far, it just started really yesterday in our region, and it's been pretty much aloft, so it really hasn't impacted our air quality. But what should be a beautiful blue sky is just one big haze right now.
Well, we got blue skies down here in Nashville. We have the rodeo in town tonight. We have rodeo at Bridgestone Arena, and then Jelly
Mm.
Roll. Speaking of Jelly Roll, that's nothing that you or I need to be Jelly Rolls. But we got a lot of market action. You were in D.C., Don in D.C. Want to talk politics first, and then we'll wrap up how the markets close for May?
Yeah, we certainly can. Certainly, no shortage of news happening on the front of DC, whether it's the Trump tariffs or what's been happening with that big beautiful bill, the budget reconciliation process. So, where do you want to go, Tommy?
Well, I want my brother to go full screen on you. Apparently, he forgot how to do this. We will start with the big, beautiful bill for $100.
All right, the big beautiful bill, the budget reconciliation process, made it through the U.S. House by one vote. So it was a very tough poll. They had to do a lot of work to really bring the conservative Freedom Caucus members, some of the budget hawks, over to get that job done, because it does actually add to the budget deficit, and that was a no-no for the more conservative members of the Republican caucus. So Trump had to meet with them a couple times and came up on Capitol Hill and met with the Republican caucus, but they got the job done. It passed by one vote, just ahead of their Memorial Day break, and now it's going to move over to the Senate, and the Senate's probably will take till August or even early September. I guess August, because they'll be on break in September. But I wouldn't expect any quick action on the budget reconciliation process in the Senate. They're a much more deliberate chamber, and they're going to take some time. In fact, they're talking of breaking it up into a couple different pieces instead of doing it as the one big bill that they have. Tommy, for agriculture, it's got the money areas that we talk about. So it bumps reference prices. It makes some changes in the crop insurance program. It does some things like with dairy margin coverage and some of those type of efforts. It also doubles the amount of funding available for trade promotion, the market promotion programs that USDA has. So those areas for agriculture came through. The more policy elements of the farm bill, things that you want to get done, say that Proposition 12 thing in California, they want to make a correction of that through the farm bill process. That didn't happen in budget reconciliation. So still a lot of work. The big hit that came out of this was about a $300 whack out of the SNAP benefits. The Democrats, of course, opposed to that. But that was the one thing that the Republicans were focused on to help pay for the budget cuts. Keep in mind, the biggest thing out of this is a reauthorization of those 2017 tax cuts. And so that's one big reason that a lot of work, a lot of focus has been on this legislation, Tommy.
Don, educate the good folks here at Ag Bull Media, Ag Bull Trading. How long has it been since we've had a new farm bill?
2018 since we had a farm bill. And really, actually, if you think about it, 2018 was pretty much a rubber stamp of what we did in 2013. So we really haven't changed the farm bill extensively since dating back to 2013. We should have passed a farm bill a couple of years ago. We've had two extensions They tried to get something done the last days in December, but they couldn't push it across the finish line. So now they've broken it up into two pieces. It's pretty unusual because we've always had that Farm Bill coalition where the folks that care about the nutrition title, what happens on that part of the Farm Bill, and then the traditional ag interests that care about price supports and crop insurance, those kind of things. They have worked together to pass that legislation. This kind of breaks that up because we're handling the ag dollar issues, the mandatory spending issues for agriculture in budget reconciliation, and took a big cut out of the food stamp program. And they're really kind of changing the way the food stamp program is being done to put more focus on the states. They're going to have to spend more money coming out of the state coffers for the food stamp program. So that's another change that came through in this legislation. Again, nothing done at this point. It still has to go through the Senate, and it still could be many months before that's done.
Sounds good. I was writing my notes while you're talking, Don. We're looking at 440, 450 December corn futures. We're looking at $4 cash corn, maybe even cash corn with a 3 in parts of the country. What are you hearing on money for farmers? I know they let the price sink, then issue the money later. It would help us do a better job marketing if we knew money was on the way.
Well, I would say actually this week for our livestock producers, you may recall the livestock producers here in the Dakotas that dealt with wildfires a year or two ago. The USDA came out with a $1 billion infusion farm assistance for those ranchers, those livestock producers. And if they went and filed all the paperwork that they did at that time, they don't have to come and do anything again. It just Farm Service Agency is going to take care of it. They should be getting a check coming their way. In fact, they're in that process right now. It got authorized, I believe, yesterday, and they should be in the process of sending out those funds here this week or early next week, the way it sounded to me from the paperwork we got from USDA. There still is I think some other disaster programs that are out there that we're waiting for those dollars to come through, but that's all to come, I guess, Tommy.
Well, as they say in the movie Jerry Maguire, show me the money, right?
Yeah.
I would love to hear that anyone who grows a bushel of corn is getting 50 cents. We could actually make some cash deals. Anything else out of DC or anything else political?
Just with the tariffs, we had a court yesterday, I should say Wednesday morning, Wednesday evening, that said the Trump tariffs, the reciprocal tariffs that were put in place in April, and then they did that 90-day pause, was illegal, that they had to pull that back. There was another court that weighed in on that actually then yesterday. Of course, the White House appealed that right away, and that appeal took. So the tariff situation does continue, but this is a very fluid situation on what happens with the tariffs and some of the trade deals that being worked on right now by the Trump administration.
Don, I can only smile and think of an Italian movie. Ligano, no ligano, illegal, not illegal.
Yeah.
We're talking about the United States government, kind of, for lack of better word, shit show, right? But
Yeah.
I know in the radio broadcast you don't speak such a foul language, but here on the trading floor, every once in a while we got to call it like it is.
Well,
All
that
right,
Italiano, the ag secretary, is actually going to be in Italy on Monday and Tuesday, trying to talk trade with the Europeans and see if they can come together on that. So that'll be interesting too.
Yeah, good stuff. Let's move to markets. Month of May is over from a trading perspective, and I do have the closing wrap down for the month of May. July corn down 31, July wheat up 3, July soy down 3. Big loser of the month of May will be corn. We grow over 15 billion bushels of corn. You take away 30 cents from that, that's going to hurt. Now, of course, that's in the July. December would have a different net change. Looking at cattle, a lot of optimism. Take what Don said about the money to some ranchers up north, but live cattle up $7 on the month, hogs up 3, feeder cattle up 4. Feels like they're up more, but they have been trending up for a long time. With that, we've had some down days, limit down days. Of course, we had all the drama this week from the fake news Right. Not that Don Wick or the Red River Farm Network would ever do that. Let me ask you something, and I'm being serious. How many times in your career have you put out a story where you had to totally retract it and go, I'm sorry, I messed that up? A few times? I mean, that's a big one, isn't it? Say there's
Yeah.
screwworm, take feeder cattle, limit down.
You know, we would be on the air saying that there are reports of that happening. We wouldn't, it wouldn't be confirmed by what we would be saying at that point, I don't think. Yeah, there's, our integrity is pretty important to us. So I can't think of too many
I
times.
see you're choosing every word like it has $100 bill attached to it. But
exactly.
I'm just, from my perspective, and the good folks here, we have a lot of cattle traders and cattle people involved at Nesvick Trading, really active in cattle futures and options.
RCAP actually has filed a investor, or asking the Commodity Futures Trading Commission to investigate that rumor or what happened on, what was it, Wednesday, because of the market impact and the dramatic impact it had on prices. So we'll see if that has any traction.
Who were
RCAP,
those initials? Who's that?
Major cattle organization. In the cattle business, there seems to be a number of them. We have National Cattlemen's Beef Association, RCAF USA, U.S. Cattlemen's Association. They all have a little different angle in this thing, but
so many acronyms: FBI, CIA, IRS.
exactly.
As Scott the Cow Guy says, we're going into the 3-letter acronym word. Okay, with that, that's the market's overall tone. One of the interest here is that you bring the Northern Plains perspective: Canada, North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, maybe even a little bit of Montana. Very much people understand, if you live in Illinois, you probably have a great idea how Illinois crops are going. We consider you the not only the expert on a national level in politics, but definitely the voice of the Red River. How is the attitude of farmers up in the Red River, Don?
It's just been a bit of a strange spring, early summer season when you think about it. We had 90-degree temperatures one week and wind. It was just crazy wind, so that if you wanted to get some spraying done, you couldn't, just because of Mother Nature. And we went the following week right down to close to freezing temperatures, very cold. And now we're warming back up again. These guys are back into the field. Basically, crops are in, other than a few stragglers with soybeans, and moving on into the canola and dry edible beans and those kind of things. But most of the crops are in.
Very good. With that, sugar beet farmers, I know, always looking to be optimistic. We need tons in sugar. We need bushels. We need wheat. The prices are not very attractive of anything. Spring wheat farmers, we did have a couple really big up days here. Spring wheat really doing a lot better here, but we went up 10, 12 yesterday. We went up 10 today, but we need a lot of days of that, Don, just to get spring wheat above $6. And believe it or not, there will be a harvest here in a few months, correct?
Yeah, it will. It's also going to be interesting just to see how this crop, but because we were not able to get a pre-down for most of our farmers in this region because of that weather, whether it was the wind or what was going on then with the cold and the rain. So trying to attack some of these weeds and maybe a few extra disease issues because of the cold and wet conditions could be an interesting start to this season.
Brag yourself up, Don. I know you put out a wonderful newsletter on Mondays. Joe, pop that up. How do people get a hold of Mr. Don Wick?
You can sign up for our newsletter, FarmNet News. It goes out every Monday. It is a snapshot of what goes on in the world of agriculture. You just go to our website, rrfn.com, as in Red River Farm Network.
Excellent. All right. This has been the end of month wrap up, but you and we're going to start doing these every week, probably record most likely on Thursday or Friday. If we're in a pinch, maybe go Saturday. Might alternate some of your other wonderful people who work there at the Red River Farm Network. Got an excellent team there covering politics, everything happening in the Valley. Optimistic points for the month of May would be cattle. Things I'm sad about: the price of corn. There's some things you can control, some things you can't. If you're looking for a weather story and we get hot and dry, that means there's going to be less bushels. So if the market shoots up based on a weather problem, it means that someone out there has less bushels. Of course, we always want someone in South America to have less bushels so the American farmer can benefit. But last but not least, Mr. Don Wick, Anything on land prices or the price of shares of sugar stock in North Dakota?
Kind of at the end of that season, once guys get rolling the tractor, certainly the shares that wrapped up in early April. But as far as farmland, traditionally we don't see a lot happening at this point in the season because they're busy in the ground. But those land values have been pretty sticky. They've held firm. We haven't really seen any pushback along with the drop in commodity prices.
Well, we're also seeing as these suburbs of Fargo and Grand Forks grow, where you live in South Grand Forks used to be way out there, and now they're just every year taking a few more sections, making big, beautiful houses, and North Dakota is a very desirable place to live, correct?
Beautiful. We love it
Except
here.
for in the winter. You lie, you lie. It is. What's beautiful is the people. Now, the weather in the winter, that's why we go to UND hockey games or something else, but we
You
stay
got
busy
it.
nonetheless. All right, let's do this again next week. Mr. Don Wick, Red River Farm Network, Tom Grisafi. I am an associate person in Nesvick Trading, and we do business as Ag Bull Trading, and this will be broadcast on the Ag Bull media platforms. Down below, we put all our socials. We'd love if you click, like, and subscribe. We got YouTube, we got X, we got Facebook. Occasionally, we'll be going live, and we'll be doing more educational series like this. Everyone have a great weekend. Next time you see us, it'll be the month of June. Have a good day. Have a good night.